What is going on, people? Welcome to Only Facts Sports. If you're new here, welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. Do you know what I'm saying? We're gonna have a bit of a, I don't know what the right term is, a bit of a steward's inquiry. If you don't know me, I'm Nick. I am an Arsenal fan, so it's neutral for me. And I'll just say that my feelings at the moment, I think that the banter of one of our biggest rivals in United losing kind of balances out the banter of one of our other biggest rivals winning. And so I just feel kind of neutral about the whole situation, to be honest. It's an L for me, but it's a W for me in another way. It kind of feels neutral. But we've got Lex F1, not making his debut. Lex been on the channel before. Do you know what I'm saying? So go check out Lex's channel if you're into F1. We've got Shane. Obviously, you man know Shane already. And these men are both ardent, passionate United fans. And we've got to have a conversation about what happened yesterday. So just to set the stage, obviously, Manchester United lost. There's the arguments are it's not Amorim's team. The other arguments are, well, for the team that he's got, he didn't really use them and deploy them properly. This is the worst season in the Premier League that Man United have ever had. They could still finish 17th. It could still, I think they're 16th at the moment. They could still finish 17th if they don't win. It could be even worse and even uglier for them. And
no, it can't be. It can't be. It can't be.
17th is even worse.
No, it's not. It doesn't make a difference.
It's what we deserve. It's what we deserve.
It is, bro. Like, the only worst is if we got relegated.
Wait, Shane. I've got to stop you because Nick's laughing a bit too much, by the way. He's laughing a bit too much.
Listen, I gave you, man, the rules before you came live. The man are not following the rules, but it's cool. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not Laurie.
No,
it's
bro,
cool.
less of that, but we're not doing that. Obviously, you said you're introducing the topic, but it doesn't mean I'm a slave. I can't.
No, okay, cool. So the first topic I wanted to get, no, because I was with Shane yesterday, yeah. So I know how Shane feels about the loss. Lex, we haven't spoken properly. I just want your immediate reaction, not immediate, but I want your gut reaction to the loss. Set the scene for us. Where were you watching the game? And talk to me about how you saw the game playing out.
I watched it at home. I watched it at home with my dog. I think my immediate reaction is how I felt all day was flat. How I felt during the game was flat. As a game of football, it was one of the worst game of footballs. Forget cup finals. It's one of the worst game of footballs I've seen, I don't know, for a decade. It was a terrible game of football. The nerves started maybe a couple of hours before, but for me, and this is why I think I'm flat today, it was bigger than the trophy. And it's the state of the club and the shambles that they're in, actually, that it's down to the monetary side of it and not literally it being about the money. It's about what it means for the future of the club. So, you know, I'm a 35-year Manchester United fan, season ticket holder, and all this different stuff. And the Manchester United I know is dead. And yesterday, it really felt like, you know, I'm getting on to you about laughing, but yesterday, you know, banter club with the Pogba stuff and the Lingard stuff and, you know, the Anthony signing and all this different stuff. But we are literally a banter club now when it comes to all this stuff. And I think yesterday set us back 2 or 3 years. And that's why I woke up. I messaged a couple of Man United group chats saying, did that really happen? Because I think the content of the game doesn't really matter. I think Amorim made mistakes, but it was what I expected. It's the fact of we couldn't even, against a terrible Spurs side, who sat back for 75 minutes of the game. We couldn't create anything. People went missing. I just think it was a showcase of where we are as a club on and off the pitch. And I think it's a shambles. We're in a horrible place right now.
Shout out to the people in the chat, by the way. Shout out to people in the chat. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Alex in the chat, Man United fan. Thank you for being here. Alex said, don't sack him. He hasn't even had a transfer window yet. But Lex obviously feels that even with everything that you just said, Lex, you still feel that Amorim can take you forward. We'll come to that in a second. Shane, your reaction to the game, because obviously I watched it with you, but some of the man that might not have been in the stream. Is there anything that Lex said that resonates with you in regards to like how you lost the game?
I think everything he said I agree with. I think I can automatically know where this conversation is going. We have different approaches on how, by the way, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, everybody in the chat. But yeah, we automatically have different approaches as fans and as football fans. And I appreciate his opinion. Straight off the bat, I appreciate his opinion. The only thing that I would add to it is the fact that I feel every United fan going into the game spoke about heritage, you know, and us having that know-how in finals. And even when we've been poor in the last few seasons, we've been in finals with teams that's better than Spurs. And we've got over the line. What we didn't see was if you were to remove the name and remove the badge, you wouldn't. That didn't look like Man United to me, and the entire identity of what it takes to be a Man United player, a Man United manager, I did not see in anyone. Not just the manager, in everyone. I did not see Man United play yesterday. So
There's an argument that what's the point in getting to finals if you can't win them? Eric Ten Hag, are you both still happy that they got rid of Ten Hag when they got rid of him? Because I think we're both Ten Hag
100%,
out at the time. Lex,
100%.
I wasn't I wasn't
ultimately
Ten Hag out. I was Ten Hag in.
the last two cup finals Ten Hag got to, he won them, right?
Facts.
Yeah, I think the only mistake, and I was Ten Hag again, and for this very reason, and Amorim didn't want to come until the summer,
Yep.
is changing over with a third of the season gone. You're throwing away the season anyway, and I know we'll get to like where we are, Amorim in and Amorim out a little bit later, but it's symptomatic of the problem at Manchester United where you're empowering the players. We're like, all right, there's another sucker out the door. We can do what we damn well please. So that's the reason I was Amorim in. Ten Hag in. I'm happy with the manager, but I think
Turn that audio on. Shane's got Spurs fans in his house screaming and celebrating. Come on, you Spurs! Daniel Holt said clickbait nonsense. Daniel, it's not clickbait. We've got two Man United fans here. One wants Amorim gone, and one wants Amorim in.
Listen to this.
That's what Shane's got to do. Shane, there's this atmosphere.
One second, you man, allow me for the last thing.
Shane, there's this atmosphere. Do you think that having this atmosphere in the house is colouring your opinion about whether or not Amorim should get sacked?
Bro. Of course, bro. Of course. The reason why it's bad is because I'm around Spurs fans every day, so it's difficult. Like, you know when they say, if you're a Manchester United fan, you don't understand the Manchester and Liverpool rivalry, Manchester and Man City rivalry. As a London fan, I support Man United, and my biggest rivals have always been Arsenal and Spurs. You know what I'm saying? So it always makes it harder.
You guys have rivals. I didn't realise that.
Well, I mean, you can say that, but they just beat you in the cup final. Just beat you in the cup final.
Listen, this is the moment of their lifetime.
Not only did they beat you in the cup final, Lex, but they played you 4 times this season, and they beat you all 4 times.
The reason why I say rival, and I get what you mean, in history they haven't been a rival, but for me, I'm talking about isolate. Like, most of the people I'm around are either Spurs
lived
fans
experience,
or
right? You lived experience,
Growing up, I live in Tottenham. Like, I'm growing up in Tottenham, so like everybody's gonna support Tottenham. You know what I'm saying? This question of, oh, you live in Tottenham, why don't you support in Tottenham? That's been something I've faced my entire life. Do you know what I'm saying? So
the question is, like, you know, Onshaw said, I'm sorry, but you can see the best 2 midfielders in our midfield, and they'll still lose out to a team with a 3 in midfield. The question is it a tactical problem? Yes, he didn't. You know, Alex was in the chat. He said he didn't have the players to play that system, and Alex also said that Yoro and Dorgu were the best 2 players on the pitch, and he signed Dorgu. So he feels like the club's going in the right direction despite the result. I don't know if that's true.
Can I I'm gonna let you counteract me in a second. But I want to lay the foundation of why I'm Amorim out, because it's very, very recent. In the live itself, I said I was Amorim in during the game. Let me tell you why I'm Amorim out. And I hear people say, and I hear Arsenal fans say this all the time. When they fire someone, they say, who are we going to get in? See, for me, I look at every job as a job. Regardless of what the job is, I look at every job the same. For me, if you went to work tomorrow and you went and you either sexually assaulted someone, racially assaulted someone, or done something so terrible, your manager or your whoever's above you is not going to ask, who am I going to replace Nick with? You're gone. I will figure out that problem after. The thing with Amorim, what he done was so terrible, it was so abysmal, that I don't care who we get in next. I will figure out that when he's gone. I just want you gone now, because
what
you
did
have
he do,
to be
Shane?
punished
What did
for
he do?
You've done.
What did he do to reference? What did he do for it to be that strong? When you say what did he do, be specific.
Firstly, for me, the first thing is, and someone has to tell me why it takes 75 minutes to see that Hoyland isn't good enough. I wouldn't even have played Hoyland in the first place, but he literally persisted with Hoyland for 70 minutes or 70 however long minutes. Then, for me, this guy, we didn't bring him to play Stoke football. If we wanted Stoke football, we would have brought in Sam Allardyce. This guy's plan B is throw Maguire in the box. All credit, Maguire scored a lot of goals for us doing that, but that's not why we brought you in. I want to know, forget everything else. I want to know why I brought a Portuguese manager in to play Big Sam football. That's what I want to know. And my
Let me to
final
answer this
point
question,
is,
Shane. I'll go. Do your
huh?
final point. Do your final
My
point. Go on.
final point is, and I'll let you cook. My final point is, we know we're not going to buy 12 players. We know that. We're going to buy maybe 3 or 4 players. Potentially, there's a lot of players that we got to get rid of. If that's the case, then we already know Amarin can't get the best out of this current crop. So if we're going to finish 17th, buying 4 players ain't going to get us further up the league anyway. So we need someone who's going to be able to get the best out of these players, which he isn't going to do.
And so,
Okay.
Dex, just before you respond, Alex in the chat, thank you for the comments, bro. Said he didn't buy Hoyland and he had no other striker on the bench. He did have another striker, and that was Joshua Zirkzee, who was far better when he came off the bench. And Mac, shout out Mac in the chat as well. Regular viewer said not having a transfer window isn't an excuse to be 16th. So let's respond.
I think these guys in the chat and Shane need to get their dear diaries out. It's very emotional reaction here. Do you know what I mean? Like it's a bit much. Like the only excuse to finish 16th. So remind me, Shane, of the third point at the end in case I forget it about the sales and that, and I'll in the summer about making only 4 changes. Remind me of that because I'll probably forget because
So
I'm
my
getting older than
point
that.
is,
No, remind me,
we know
remind me.
as a club, I'll remind you, we know as a club we're
Remind
not
me.
going to sign 12 players, 15 players to revamp this entire system. So if that's the case, we're only going to be adding 3 or 4 players. We already know he can't get the best out of this current crop. So that means 4 players are going to get us from 16th to 4th. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, I can see Luca is being a bit emotional as well. I'll address it. Okay, so the first thing is this, right? To have a team, and any invasion game sport, to have a team, you have to look at the spine. In football, it's always goalkeeper, centre back, centre midfield, striker. The 2 most important positions are arguably goalkeeper and striker, and there's an argument that they're the worst in the Premier League. Like they're absolute liabilities. To the guy who said about 2 in the midfield, what Amram got wrong yesterday is he didn't anticipate what Andrew was going to do tactically and sit back. And the moment they got the goal, he just put 11 back. They had 10 back. They had about 9 guys back anyway, and they forced us to go down the wings, and we're too small. So part of it, and what I don't hold Amram accountable for, is Ten Hag and his horrible signings. Actually, we're too small. We don't have not following the trend of football where there's more physicality, where you're getting bigger players, more dynamic players. If you're going to question Amron, you have to question his formation or his tactics. It's more about can we get the physical advantage on other teams to run that system compared to the systems that other teams are playing, if that makes sense.
But should he play a 2 against the 3 then?
So he did play a 2 against the 3.
And then that's what I'm saying. If it's an invasion game and it's about the spine, let's be clear. I know Bruno had a bad game last night, but your spine was Onana. If you're talking about the spine of the team, you've got Onana in goal. He's not responsible for that. They scored an
Yeah,
own
yeah,
goal,
yeah.
etc., etc. You had Euro and Maguire and Shaw as a back 3. Shaw starting, a lot of people had questions about that, and I said Spurs are probably going to score first when I saw Shaw in the back
100%.
3 for me. That's why I was like, whoa, that's a big shout, right? You didn't want to start Xerxes because he was injured, but you want to start Shaw, who that's the question mark. Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes, 2 very experienced players. Bruno, you'd expect him to do better than he did. Cass, he's been there, he's done it, he's won big trophies. That's your spine. You've got Højlund up top, who's a bad striker. Is that spine better than Solanke, Sarr, who doesn't normally start games, Basuma, Bentancur? I think it's close. That's spine for spine. But I'll
Well,
tell you what, you put another, their midfield is probably better than yours because they've got Sarr, Basuma, and Bentancur. You've got Casemiro and Fernandes. But if you add a third midfielder in there, be that an Ericsson, who Shane was calling for in our stream, be that a Kobe Mano, does your 3 not then look equally as strong, maybe even stronger up against their 3?
but it should be a 4, and this is the issue about how poor the players are because it's a 2 and a 2. So we're talking about the advantage situation, and when it's supposed to be a 3 at the front as well, with the 1 and the 2 and the 2 10s outnumbering the 2 centre backs in the middle. So because we're so poor in the middle, I think there's big mistakes. I think it's the first game where I've looked around and I thought Amram made some big mistakes with his selection. I think the Xerxes thing is I don't think he thinks he was fit enough to play more than 20, 25 minutes. You know, yeah. When did he get injured, Shane? 6 weeks ago, 7 weeks ago.
But
So
I think
I'll
I
give
think
him
the
the
man.
He
benefit of
got
the doubt
injured a
with
few
that.
weeks ago. But
Go on, Shane.
can I ask you a question?
Of course you can.
I agree. Let's take it for he put a double pivot in of Casemiro and Bruno. Cool. Let's say he even put in Højlund because he didn't trust Xerxes. For me, you saw from at least 30 minutes, 40 minutes, that Spurs weren't pressing the ball. They weren't even outrunning us in the midfield. So for me, the question mark that Nick had when I brought up Ericsson before the game, Nick was like, he's going to get outrun. Once you realize that they've given up possession and they're playing a low block, my first substitution is going to be someone who's good on the ball, someone who can pass the ball. And there was no quality in the passing. My first substitution would have been Ericsson. That is clear. Your second best person on the ball was Mainu, and he came in with 2 minutes left. So your two best players on the ball probably played a collective 2 minutes between the two of them. Please justify that for me, please.
I don't think it's a justification thing. I think with Ericsson, I'm not too sure of the situation. That's the honest thing. Whether he's out, I saw something earlier, and I don't know if you've seen Garnacho's comments after the game, and he was posting pictures an hour before when he scored in the cup final before. So I think a lot of it comes down to the cultural stuff. So with the Ericsson thing, the only thing I can think is that he played his card for that kind of player when he chose Mount. And I think the Mount selection is massively questionable because that's what pushed Bruno back. So he chose to have Mount up there instead. What I was calling for actually is that he moved Mazraoui back into the back line, take Shaw out and put Ahmad on the right. Then you've still got Ahmad who can use the width and get, because he was good when he was wide. He could draw defenders in and get crosses in. So I think the hill that he's got himself stuck on is that Mount hill. What is the other part of the question? You said Ericsson and
And if I ignore that question, since Amorim's come in your opinion, can you name me one thing that he's done, him personally, that's done to improve the team? Forget individuals that's improved. One thing that he's done to improve the team.
On the pitch or just in general?
On the pitch.
On the pitch, I think we've had better width than we did before. With the Dorgu signing and when Ahmad is fit, we've had better width. After that, it's questionable. I think he managed to partially resurrect Casemiro a little bit as well, other than last night. But other than that, and I see the challenges, by the way, Shane. I see the challenges about the style of football. But I think the change is what needs to happen. We're in a systematic thing, a cycle where we can list 5 or 6 managers who these players and the culture in the clubs. You see Aaron's interview a couple of weeks ago, and in my line of work, I'm going through a similar thing at the minute, where you can feel the losing mentality, the mindset, certain people having certain
No, but
power.
that losing mentality weren't here before Amorim came, because we were still winning in cup finals.
Nah, but it's not a specific thing. So like they're winning some cup finals, but we lost the Europa under Oli, or we're getting used to finish 6th or 7th or 8th. And this is good enough, and it's good enough to, like, we don't know what's happening on the training pitch. Has Luke Shaw really been that injured? Do you know what I mean? That's the question. Why is Casemiro all of a sudden dropped 1.5 stones? Like, it's all cultural stuff and expectation.
What is Rúben? Because he's definitely, if you're saying you can only list one thing, which is width, fairs. Let's say width is the one thing he's done wrong, and we can list a laundry list of things he's done wrong.
I think some players he's got a bit more out of some players, but go on.
What is his punishment for his for finishing 16th, for only picking up 3 points in the league, and for us losing a cup final and losing 3 games to Spurs against a team who I need people to understand. They've lost 24 games this season in all competitions. They played us 4 times and they've beaten us every single time. What is Rúben Amorim's punishment for his lack of that? What is his punishment? If it's not fired, what is his punishment?
I'm going to answer your question with a question of why did we sack Ten Hag?
Why we sacked Ten Hag is the same reason why we sacked Van Gaal, the same reason why we sacked Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and the same reason why we sacked Jose Mourinho, which is And no, Ralph doesn't count. The
Why?
reason why Ralph doesn't count is because Jose and Ten Hag both won trophies, and no, Jose, Ten Hag, and Van Gaal won trophies, and the next season they got sacked. In Van Gaal's case, it was the next day because United have a standard, and if you fail to hit that standard, you're gone. Which Ruben failed to hit that standard, so he should be gone. There is no way we fired Van Gaal one day after winning the FA Cup. We fired Ollie 3 months or 4 months after finish second. We fired who we fired who else did we fire? Ten Hag 3 months after
Right,
winning.
wait, Shane. Let's go through each one. What year did we fire Van Gaal?
What he was in his third year
No, but what year? What actual year was it?
last year. No, Van Gaal was maybe
20,
10 years ago, like maybe 9 years
2015. So
ago.
there we go. 10 years ago. Cool. The next one we fired was Jose,
Yep,
and we fired him because of the players. The players fired Jose.
yep,
The next one was Ollie because we was
yep,
in absolute free fall, like we were
yep,
under Ten Hag. Yeah.
yep.
So there's a pattern. Like the club has
We're
gone.
in
The
free
club
fall
has hit
now,
rock
though.
bottom.
We're in
We've been
free fall. What? We're not in rock bottom now. If
Okay,
we
well,
had
Shane, let
three
me ask you a
better
question. Let
teams
me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. So you want Amran out. So what's next? What is your
right
solution
now,
next? Go
right
on.
now, when I clean my house before I get furniture. So I'm cleaning the crap, then I bring in furniture. I'll figure out that after. You need to go, me. I just know you ain't it. I don't really care who's next. You ain't it. As long as you're gone, you're part of my problem. Let me
But
get rid
how?
of
But how are
like.
you going to stop the cycle with the players and the culture and
This,
everything going wrong in the
can I
club?
can I keep it? Can I keep it so honest? In terms of
Always.
the cycle, I actually feel like under the current circumstances of the way football is, I just feel like we have to accept that it's gonna be an in and out like revolving door until you find the right one. It's pretty much most teams
Who's the right
outside of
one?
maybe Arsenal, Spurs. In fact, Spurs do it as well. Like you're gonna keep rotating managers until you find the right one. Same thing with Barca. Real Madrid are gonna start. They're gonna sack their manager. PSG's done it. It's the world we're living in right now. If you're
Okay,
not
so
good
let me
enough, you
let me
go.
stop, Shane. Let me stop you there though. So the last two teams you said they have the money where they can go and make wholesale changes like that and not the restrictions. And then you said find the right one, but that's the cycle we're stuck in. And even though they haven't won a trophy, I'm not taking shots, Nick, I promise. But even though they haven't won a trophy with it, because I saw you on Instagram saying if we won, like your skin and teeth saying if we win the Europa, we've had a better season than Arsenal. And I messaged, did I speak to you or message you, Nick, saying ignore Shane because that's not the Man United thing. I remember bantering Chelsea and Arsenal about fighting for Europa League. So I understand the United way, but look at Arteta did the same thing, and he got rid of Aubameyang, he got rid of this person, that person. We've got 20-year-olds coming out after the game saying, "Oh, I played all these, I played in every round, I played 20 minutes." So what? Shut your mouth. Not every game is for you, mate. It's not about you. The club has just hit rock bottom, and it's not about you. Well, the thing I was going to reference is when Amram was in Sporting Lisbon in his first season, and he took over just as hostile. I don't know if you know much about when he took over. The fans broke into the training ground and started fighting the players, and then the manager went. Lots of players went. That's when Amram came in. That summer, he got rid of 26 players, sold eight, including their three biggest players. He played the most minutes, loaned out 18. So there's a rot. It's in the DNA of some of those
But
players.
will,
It's in
but
the
will your
DNA of the
club do
club.
that? Will your
Well,
club
that's
do
the
that?
question. And if you
Or are your club waiting for it to get bad enough that the fans break in and start beefing man on the pitch in
No,
order to
but
do like
but
how
but
drastic does it have to get?
but
hang on a
Nick,
second, Shade. The thing is, and just to answer Nick's question, Amron said this. If you listen to what he's saying, if you
yeah.
actually listen to what he's saying, they asked him about the summer last week, and he said, "Look, things are bad, but we have to be brave. It's whether the club want to be brave." He's since the day he walked through the door, he said the problems. I don't want to be here. We're going to have to go through pain. I don't want to be here. We're going to have to go through pain. It's going to be hard working with these players. We're going to have to be brave. The board have to be brave. So are we going to? It's a great question. We'll have to find out, Nick, if Sir Jim and the Glazers are brave enough to do it. Are they brave
I
enough to
can
take
tell
Are
on
you
you
the
are
this
you
Middlesbrough
are
now,
you
Bruno.
giving are
Yeah,
you
no.
giving Amarin a bit of a free pass? The board is the board. Arsenal haven't invested in a striker. They haven't done these things, but we have to hold Arteta accountable because he's got to do the best he can. The only thing I give Arteta grace for is injuries because that's completely out of his control. But if we don't sign a striker and next season it's Havertz and Jesus. His job is to win the league with Havertz and Jesus, and if that's impossible, then we have to find a manager that can do that.
Can I reply to the Brave comment? Yeah,
Yeah.
because sometimes, and I say this all the time, sometimes
Big up
people
all the
get
man them in the chat as well. Go on.
sometimes people get suicide confused with bravery. Some people get suicide confused with bravery. What most fans who say give Amorim time is, what they're waiting for is, they're waiting for us to be rock bottom. Because let's keep it real, bro. If there was another team, if there was three better teams in the league, we would be fighting for relegation right now, and that's a fact. If Amorim was here from the start of the season, we probably would have got relegated, bro.
The only
Since
reason
he's
I
come, I
disagree.
think only two teams have picked up less points than him since he's come.
Shane, do you know the only reason I think there's validity to that, but the only reason I disagree is because you see the performances in the Europa, and then it's like the players had this mindset. And again, Amrin addressed that, saying, and this is when he was talking about like the feeling around the team and the feeling around the players. They're like, well, we're doing what we're doing because we want to win Europa, but then we turn it to West Ham and we're just selling. If it was a fight for relegate to stay up in the league and they're focusing on that, I think there'd be a bit more urgency. That's wrong, by the way.
Bro,
That's wrong, by
I
the
don't
way.
know.
That's wrong. I don't know, but I believe they would. But it's
I
wrong that it's that
can't say
mindset.
that because the reason why I can't say that is because even in the games, yeah, let's keep it real. Even in the games in the Europa League, outside of the Bilbao game, out the two Bilbao games, even in the games in the Europa League, we've played some shit football as well, bro. Let's keep it real. We played shit against Leon until they got a man sent off. There was one game I was watching where obviously this is individual errors, but I thought we had Francis Ngannou in goal because bro, I think we literally need to get rid the first and this if we're gonna keep Amorim, if you talk about selling players, if the first two people out the door is an Onana and Hoyland, then he has to get fired off that. He has to get fired off that.
But is that on him though, Shane? If he's not saying that, but if that's on him, because that's why we're easy to play against because you're just outnumbered. Because like I was watching someone on YouTube earlier, and they're talking about and their highlight. I think it's Houghton or someone highlighted that when the ball went over from Do you remember when Euro tried to last night? Euro almost got in the end of a ball and tried to flick it on the front post like 4 yards out.
Yeah,
You watch it back. Euro's made the run to the front post. There's a couple of the guys knocking around in the middle, but Hoyland's peeled back. And it's like, really, Hoyland should be like, Lenny, get out of my way. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, he doesn't gamble for balls. He doesn't move off the ball. He doesn't make runs. He's very basic. His football understanding is terrible. So I think that's what makes us. And to answer your question, Nick, because you said about accountability, I think.
Can I answer that? Can I answer that comment quickly, and then you can go back to your point. Sometimes, bro. No, the one before, the post-nut clarity one. I want to get to that one.
Which one?
This
one.
One.
We got a comment from Mo in the chat saying, "Bro, you're just angry. You need post-nut clarity."
Let me tell you the thing is, sometimes people never get to bust a nut, bro. It's just that real. Sometimes you just don't. We might not ever climax under this guy, bro. This is pause. That sounds so mad. But at the end of the day, bro. Under Amorim, we might not ever see the pinnacle, bro. It's just that real. In order for me to have post-nut clarity, there has to be a nut in it. At the end of the day, bro, there's gonna be no ecstasy or excitement under Amorim. What he's basically saying is, and he even said it after the game, we gotta take steps back to take steps forward. Last time I checked, we're 16th. So if we take steps back, we're in relegation. That means we'll be playing championship football.
Shane, you're being too literal. Shane, you're being too literal. Shane, you're being too literal. He's not talking about on the pitch. And this is the thing. I'm not going to get caught. I'm not going to get caught up in that comment. But I agree with it to the point of like it's bigger. There's bigger things that are happening.
How much do you look at the board? Because you look at a game like last night.
Thank you. Yeah.
You look at the game like last night. You guys, again, just in terms of your relationships with managers, because that's what we're talking about in this chat. Yeah, we're talking about the manager, but in terms of managers, and Shane said it, you sacked managers the day after winning the trophies, months after winning trophies, whatever. You guys got rid of your star boy academy product in Marcus Rashford, and you look at a game like last night, surely he could have been effective. But you let him go partly because of his relationship breakdown with Ten Hag, only to then go and sack Ten Hag. So when you then pressure Rúben Amorim to come in, he's watching one of his best attackers balling out for another team battling for top six and Champions League football, and he's got to be sitting there thinking, I kind of thought hopefully I was coming into a team with this type of player. Now he goes into a cup final when he hasn't got Marcus Rashford there, who's been Rashford, Bruno. These are two players
No,
that have
but no,
been.
but the
So
reason
hang on
why
a
that's
second.
the reason why that's a load of, no offense, Nick, but the reason why that's a load of crap is because for me, at the end of the day, let's I still feel like it's inexcusable for some of the decisions that he's made anyway. Because who's to say that this guy wouldn't play flipping Rashford in centre mid, bro? This guy literally, I need people to, obviously he's not gonna play Rashford in centre mid, but this guy literally played Luke Shaw, who's coming back from injury, played Mason Mount up further forward, and played Bruno in a double pivot. By the way, none of these combinations we played this season. We've not played this. So for me, there's not one decision that I've seen that where he's been brave, in your words, brave. I've not seen one brave decision pay off this
Brave isn't
season.
about that, and I do think that the Luke Shaw thing actually. If you remember under Ten Hag, before Luke had the big injury, what he's had recently, he played some of his best football at left centre back, and I
Not
think
under
some of that.
Ruben though.
No,
Not under.
but he's still, and a lot of people know that like the physicality is what's letting Luke Shaw down, and actually him playing left centre back is a better solution. Now you're basically deciding
In a
between
cup in a
Luke
cup
Shaw.
final.
Yeah, well, that was the manager's decision to make, right? And I'll
And was it a
explain
good
why.
one?
Wait a
Was it a
second,
good one?
wait a second, because it's easy, and I get it, to focus in on yesterday. The alternative who hasn't been there would have been Lindelof. He's been in equally as much of a liability the last 2, 3
No,
weeks.
he's not.
Lindelof is,
Mazwari would have been the alternative, like you said, which was the right decision.
well, if Dalot was fit and you play Ahmad on the right wing back, that's the decision you got to make. If you play Dalot Ahmad on the right wing back and you push Mazraoui in, or Dalot's fit enough, which he isn't because he'd been out for 6 weeks, then previously leading up when Dallow's been injured and you have Mazraoui at right wing back, it has been Lindelof because the three's been Lindelof, Maguire, and Euro before he was injured.
If
That's
Luke
been the
Shaw
three.
and Dallo, if Luke Shaw and Dallo are both coming back from injury, I'm trusting the fitness and the ability of Dallo over Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw's had Dallo's had some injuries, but Luke Shaw's had
But
big. He's been out for seasons.
Dallow's been day to day. Luke's been back for about 3, 4 weeks. I'm with you, but if it had been 3, 4 weeks and day to day, I mean, Luke was
no,
just
but
terrible.
you know what though? You know what, bro? You said he got caught out by what did he got caught out by the tactics of Spurs. At
Yeah.
half time, okay, Dallo come on. We don't need the extra security in defense. Dallo come on. We don't need the extra we don't need
Wait a second. Stop it. Let me stop you there, though, Shane. Because this is the thing. In those situations, and this is what I mean about we only know certain things. Like in the industry that, like, I work in this industry, right? He'll be told he can have Dallo for 18 minutes. Categorically, bro, I work in this industry. You can have, that department will say, you can have Dallo for 18 minutes. You can have Xerxes for 25
But
minutes.
is it not the Man United way? And just cup final football specifically, but especially Manchester United. This is Manchester United up against Spurs, who are a poor side. Would it not make sense to go Xerxes, Dallo, these guys, even if it is the first 30 minutes? The goal they scored, I think it went down as an own goal, or it's a bit of a fuck up and a clusterfuck
Yeah.
from the defense. Yeah, but you put that best team out for it was night and day. The difference between Hoyland, I've spoken to so many Man United fans. Let me know down in the chat, and guys, we're going to come to your comments as well because a few of you make some really good points. We're going to come to the comments, but I've spoken to loads of Man United fans who are in agreement that Hoyland is probably the worst number 9 in the league. The worst number 9 in the
Yeah,
league, and we can
I
go through
agree.
the league. If you've got Xerxes for 20 minutes, play Xerxes for 20 minutes. If you go 1-0 up, maybe even 2-0 up, it's unlikely that this Spurs side are going to come back.
but
Well, and then you
Nick,
sub him out after 25 minutes in the
If you have to
No,
first
take him
but
half.
out for
but no,
25
no,
minutes, take him out for
but Nick,
25 minutes.
I don't know, bro.
Nick, 1 second, 1 second, 1 second. You Xerxes been out for 6 weeks. For me, that the last 6 weeks, I would have been trying every other person in a false nine other than Hoyland. I don't care what anyone says. There's not one game, whether you're in Championship, League One, League Two, that Hoyland can win. So for me, Hoyland wouldn't even have been an option. I would have played. I swear to God on everything I own, I would have tried every single player in that position other than Højlund. Everyone. With leading up to this final, I would have known who's the best player because I know it wouldn't be Højlund. I know for a
Does
fact.
Bruno not do that job and he puts someone else in the
Sorry,
midfield?
Nick, because Ahmad just made a comment, and I think it goes back to what you were saying before, and I
The
didn't get
Ineos
to
one.
answer. Because Shane was shouting, right? So I like because the very reason I said that we deserve to finish 17th. Like, and by the way, I'm a little bit worried about Sunday at Villa, and not because of on the pitch, because there's already a protest planned, by the way. So God knows what's going to happen now. Like, God knows. And I hope, as long as it's safe, I hope something pops off. As long as people are safe, I hope it's something what makes a statement. But the reason I said we deserve to finish 17th is this is 10, 12 years in the making of bad decisions. Abba made a great point about the whole Dan Ashworth
Ineos.
thing. Ineos, Dan Ashworth, that some of the signings that we've made, waiting too long to make a decision on Ten Hag. Like, we're at this point, and this is what I said about when Van Gaal got sacked the next day. It's a different club, Shane. It shouldn't be. It's a different club. We also have no defined right that we should always be top of the league. We can kid ourselves, but there's big clubs like Sheffield Wednesday, Villa were gargantuan at one point. There's bigger. Wait a second. There's bigger clubs, or sorry, not bigger clubs. There's clubs that are big, who have been through these situations, and now look where they are. So if we don't make the right moves off the pitch and get the right players in, like if I'm working in a restaurant, if I'm working in a Nando's franchise, and all the chicken I've got is contaminated and food poison. If I keep putting it out and I'm making people ill, but that's what I've been told I have to serve, that's not really on me. There has to be a clear out, and it's not even an Amran thing. Let's say Amran walks tomorrow. Let's say on Tuesday we get a notification Amran's walked because he's had enough, right? Whoever comes in next, they have to support him to clear out all this negativity. All this Garnacho stuff about like I deserve to play more than 20 minutes. It has to go.
I agree. Here's the thing though, which I find quite crazy. Ranić, when he was in, he was saying the same thing. He was saying everything you're saying, and he got fired. He was supposed to be going upstairs. He got fired. So for me,
Ronaldo said the same thing.
He got fired. So for me, Rúben Amorim is no different. In actual fact, you're even worse. So for me, I have no sympathy if you lose your job tomorrow. And the reason is, you're right. We do need to get rid of him. I don't care. We do need to get rid of players. I'll probably say there's about 20 players. No, not 20, but about 12 players in that team that should never wear a United jersey again.
12. Okay, go on. I have it where you're at, more towards the 20, but go on.
There's about 12 players that definitely should never wear the United jersey again. But my point is, when you look at a clear out, I want to clear out with also the fact that the players that I am going to keep, that they would have faith in my manager. And for me, I don't want to say this, and this is going to sound so bad. Forget the point I was about to make, because I'm going to forget this point, so I want to say it now. There was part of me that was watching this game that felt that Rúben Amorim didn't even want to win it. I felt like he wanted to almost prove a point by saying these players are so shit. I'm going to show you how shit they are. And then because I felt like there was some real self-sabotage. Why bring on Kobe Mainoo in 89 minutes? Why play Højlund for 75 minutes? Bro, if you're going to shoot yourself in the foot, that's what I would do if I'm shooting if I was sabotaging Man United, that's what I would do.
Shane, I need to stop you for a second, though. I don't think any combination of those players, because Mainoo's been rubbish this season as well. Let's just keep it real. And I think some of that's to do with the stuff of England.
He's been better than Højlund.
No, okay, come on. I'll be better than Højlund, Shane. The question
But Højlund's the player he played for 75 minutes.
Thank you, that's my point.
So that's the point.
Okay, but hear me for a second. Let me ask my question, because I've got a question. And you tried to allude to it, Nick, and Shane's trying to wiggle out of it. Why are you holding the manager the lion's share of the responsibility when it's clearly decisions that have been made off the pitch by Ineos, by the Glazers, that have put us all the way down from where a manager finishes fifth?
It was Ineos that played Højlund for 75 minutes.
No,
it's Ineos.
Shane, you're looking at 90 minutes of football when we've had 45, and I'm going to do 45 times 90. I know you're intelligent, you could probably work that out, right? But 45 times 90, however many minutes of that is, and how many minutes that was last year with these
4,050
and stuff. There we go. So you're looking at like 1% of whatever it is, right? I'm not focusing on that. Yesterday was terrible. Yeah, the manager made
But
some mistakes.
Lex, we're here to talk about Rúben Amorim, right? Because yesterday you lost a cup final to the worst, to the what, but to a shit team. You didn't. We're not here having a conversation
But
about
I don't
Rúben
want Shane
Amorim's
to wiggle
future.
out of this. I want him to answer that
No,
question.
but
Why
I'm
is it
just
not
saying
hard to
we're
pick
not
a
Can I
here.
answer
football?
it?
We're
Can I
not
answer
here
it?
talking about
Can
Manchester United losing a cup
can I
final
answer it? Can I
to
answer it?
Bilbao or to
Can I
Sport.
answer it?
We're here
Can I
talking about them
answer it?
losing to Tottenham Hotspur. Tottenham have only
Can,
won 11 games in the league, and 2 of them are against
let,
you
let,
guys.
let me answer it.
Yeah,
You're
I know.
1,000,000% right. It's been a systemic, constant issue that we've had. But guess what? Under you, let's the issue that we've had above under this board and this terrible board and the terrible club that we've run, whatever. Under this board, it's been terrible. But under you as a manager, under this board, it's been even worse. So guess what? You have to go as well. You're part of the problem because even when it was bad on the Ten
So does
Hag,
the
we
board go
didn't
as well
finish
then?
16th.
Was the board, to quote your words, what's the punishment for the board? And
For
Samson, I don't know
me,
what you're
they
chatting
should
about. And
go as
King,
well, bro. They should go
okay,
as well,
cool.
bro.
All right,
They
all
should,
right.
bro.
That's just what I need to
When I
know.
mean rip everything up, yeah, bro. I mean because at the end of the day, we can't excuse that. I think we're going to finish 17th, so we can't excuse the fact that the biggest club in England is going to finish 17th. For me, if I ran McDonald's, yeah, and for the and the McDonald's that I run only made £1 in a month, everybody has to go, bro. Everybody has to go. Everyone has to go. And I know it's a knee-jerk reaction, but at the end of the day, I can't afford another season like this. And what you're saying is, let's stick with what we have because there's a chance that we might improve. That sounds like
That's
Christians
that's
waiting for Jesus to me. I don't know
that's
that, but
that's
better
not what I
days
said
might
at
not
all.
come.
That's not what that Ahmad, but that's like after like 6, 7 games, so that doesn't count. I'm just reading the chat. Okay, I hear you, Shane, but let's be real about it. I didn't say that let's wait because there might be a chance. Amrin has formed for doing this before, for being in these situations. So I think he deserves a chance to come out of it. However, and I don't mean this in the wrong way, let's keep it real. Ineos aren't going, the Glazers aren't going. That's why I said to you, what's the solution? Because we can say all day
So
these are the
let's
things.
start
It's,
with
it has to be
Amarin.
the players.
Let's
And then
start with Amarin.
and then
If
who's after
Ineos ain't
Amrin?
going,
Let
and
me ask let me ask you guys a question, both of you, yeah, because Ahmad said this earlier. Ahmad, shout out everyone in the chat as well. I'll get through some of the comments in a second. Ahmad Diallo, who's a regular in the chat, said, "I have one question. If we lose the most games at the start of next season, what are we going to do? Sack him then and be in the same situation as this season?" So as it stands, if Rúben Amorim stays, and we can predict, we've heard Cunha could be coming in. We can predict what that might look like because there's now no European football for Manchester United. So we can think about how that affects the transfers you guys are going to get in. But if you keep Amarin, Lex, I'll come to you first. As it stands, what's your target for next season? Where would you expect Rúben Amorim to get you next season? No European football, 3 or 4 players coming in. Who knows what kind of talent you could attract with no European football? I know it's a big brand, big wages. You know, again, you're trying to overhaul the wage structure of the club. That's not going to be able to happen because you're going to have to pay top talent, top wages to come to a club that aren't in European competition. You know, what's the target for you, Lex?
I
If he
think,
stays, what's a realistic target for you?
so, and that's why I said the feeling today and yesterday when I was watching the game, it was not like a game of football I watched before. It was just flat because, in my opinion, what this means long term. This isn't saying what I'm happy with, or what I'd accept. I think if 3 or 4, I'd like to think maybe 5, but who they are, and we get as much the right outgoings. I think I think it's got to be within the top 8. I'd like to say top 6,
Top
but
8.
yeah, I think if it was we won
with
yesterday, I would have
Amarin,
said top
with
6. Yeah,
Amarin,
yeah, I
top
think
8 with
so.
Amarin.
I
You
think
don't
that's what
believe
we're
that.
looking
You
at.
don't believe that. You don't believe that. You honestly don't believe that. You don't believe that. There's
No,
no way that
the question was
And
is
Lex,
what would I expect, right? Was the question? It
and
remind
Lex,
me.
and Lex, you said this is not necessarily what I would accept, but this is what you would accept because you want Amarin to stay,
Okay,
and your prediction is
what I want. It's not necessarily what I want. So I use the wrong word. I don't want us to be like bambling around like we can finish 8th, but I think a realistic step if the right people were out. The minimum, because we're talking about answering Ahmad's question about
Because
how does the
I'm
season
trying
go.
to assess if Amorim in or out is better for Manchester United next season. So do you think Rúben Amorim can get this team to the top 8 and then maybe the following season get to the top 4? What's your, do you mean,
Yes,
how is that better?
yes.
And that is better to
You
you?
said
Because
you were going to answer me
Shane, I'm going to
before.
come to you as well. So if in your opinion, Shane, if Rúben Amorim stays with the transfer window looking like how it could potentially look, where do you think Amorim finishes next season?
Let's look at trajectory. Right? Since he's come in, only 2 teams have picked up less points than him. 2 teams since he's come in. That's a statistical fact. Only 2 teams, which basically means he would have got relegated since he's come in. He's picked up 9 points since January.
Alex knows, by the way.
The players I presume have down tools for the Europa League. Cool. It's an attitude problem. I definitely get that. But at the end of the day, you brought up a great point, Nick, which is this club is firing dinner ladies. They're firing everyone. So we ain't gonna buy 12 players. So the core players that's going to be here next season is going to be the core players that are here this season, because you're not going to buy 12 players. And outside of Bruno, who flopped yesterday, and maybe outside of Amad Diallo, who was also good under Eric Ten Hag, he didn't get the chance under Eric Ten Hag, but he's good at Sunderland. Outside of Ahmad and Bruno, I can't really think of anybody who's he improved. Who is he really improved? I don't really know. Maybe Euro as well. Bro, for me, I can see more players down in tools than players actually picking up tools to fight for this guy. So if we keep...
No. Sorry, Nicholas, to join. Because the players are, even what they said afterwards, and the things that they said afterwards, they didn't need to say to, but it's only Garnacho who went at the manager. So I don't think the players are down.
Do you think Garnacho was wrong? Do you think Garnacho was wrong for that?
Yeah, I think it was.
He was wrong. You know why he was wrong for that? Let me tell you why. Garnacho was wrong for that. Because for me, where Garnacho is in his career right now, his career at United is quite uncertain. Like, we don't even know what, like, some people actually want him gone. For me, I feel like there is a big attitude problem with you know what the Garnacho interview reminded me of? It reminded me a bit of when Conte had that mad interview at Spurs before he got fired. It kind of reminded me of that. Because again, it also, in fact,
he's basically said, back me or sack me.
Forget what Garnacho said. I want to focus on the fact that Amorim said that he will get fired or leave without compensation. Like, that's supposed to be satisfying to me. Thank you very much for taking compensation.
Shane, wait a second. I'm not going. Shane, I'm not going off this Garnacho thing. I need to tell you why it's wrong, right? Because
there's no way Garnacho is wrong for that.
No, I think he is, because you know what? It's undermining the manager. It's undermining the club. What happens in our club? You could be mad. You could be vexed. You could throw your boots across the dressing room. You can slam your hand down on the chairman, on the CEO's table, and say I'm out. But what happens within the club, because it's supposed to be a team, a family, a unit, you deal with that professionally in the right way. And this is why, because Shane's saying he wants to throw the plates out, he wants to throw the cat out, the dog out, he wants to throw everything out, right? But then, like, how are you making dinner, mate? Because the next person who comes in, these players are going to say, well, we got rid of Van Gaal. Take Van Gaal out because that's too long ago now. But we got rid of Jose, we got rid of Ollie, we got rid of Ralph, we got rid of Eric. If I don't want to run, I don't want to trap back, I'm on 300 bags a week, can't say nothing to me. That's the issue. It's a systemic issue. That's what I keep saying to you. It's not about that one game.
Can I ask you a question? Did Amorim do better than Ruud van Nistelrooy?
I don't think that's a valid question.
It's a simple question.
I don't think that's a valid question. To be honest
with
you, I can't remember results.
It's a question. I'm just asking a question, bro.
What was Ruud? What was he? 1 win, 2 draws, was it?
No, he had 2 wins, 2 draws.
Wait a second. Did Ruud get sacked? He got sacked anyway, didn't he?
No,
Ruud van Nistelrooy at Manchester United had 3 wins and 1 draw in the 4 matches that he managed.
That's what I wanted to know.
And then when he took the Leicester job.
No. I'm not talking about
No. Wait a second. No, Shane, you can't draw the lines here to fit agendas, mate.
I asked the question to ask another question. You didn't even give me an answer to the question I asked. Did he at United? Did he? Because it's leading to a bigger point. Who done better, Amorim or Rúben Amorim?
I don't think you can compare a 3-game caretaker role to whatever it is of Amorim's 20 games. I don't think you can.
Rephrase. Let me ask you a different question. Did the players play better during the 3-game period under Rude or the however period under Amorim? Yes or no?
I'm going to be honest with you, Shane. I don't remember the games particularly under Rude.
Oh
I don't
my
remember.
God, bro.
I don't remember. What do you want to do? Lie to?
Let me put it this way.
You want me to say
I'm looking up the games. I'm looking up the games right now.
Better under Root because of the results. I don't think they were. If you're rebuilding something, that's why it doesn't matter because it's a caretaker.
The wins that he had, by the way, in order were 5-2 over Leicester in the 4th round of the League Cup, a 1-1 draw with Chelsea in the Premier League. Then he beat PAOK 2-0 in the Europa League, and he beat Leicester, who are a relegated team, 3-0 in the Premier League. Those are the 4 games. So so fans in the chat that are Man United fans, is that enough in that 4-game run? There
was a reason why I asked that question.
Go on.
The reason why I asked that question is, for me, when Amorim came in, it was and Nick, if you remember at the time, I wasn't Amorim in at that time. I wasn't Amorim in. But can I ask Lex a few questions? I just need clarity.
Yeah, Samson, drop your questions down, but go on, carry on, Shane.
The reason why I wasn't Amorim in, because I wanted Amorim to come at the end of the season. I'm with you, Lex, on that one. I wanted Amorim to come in at the end of the season as well. But my biggest issue is, since you've come in, I don't think you've made the environment better. I actually think you've made the environment worse. So therefore, when it comes to a clear out, you actually become part of the problem. So therefore,
is there a world
get rid of you as well as everything else?
Is there a world where he can make the environment worse by raising the standards and long term get you to a better place?
I think that's what I think.
Because Arteta came in when we were 6th. He dropped us down to 8th, but he raised the standards so later we could be 2nd.
Well, dropping us down would be getting relegated, bro. That's what dropping us down is. Dropping us down is getting relegated, bro. You're not understanding.
No. Dropping you down from where you were when he started, from 14th to 17th, and then building you back up again. Not dropping down from where he is today. The drop down's already happened. I'm saying the drop down has already happened. Can we see the rebuild with the building blocks he's put in place after the drop down?
Shane, I've got to tell you, Shane.
There is a chance.
I've got to tell you, Shane, when you're doing these things, right, and again, it's from experience, when you're doing these things and you're raising standards and expectations from somewhere that isn't successful or has a certain mindset, you are going to make the environment, in quotation, worse, because you're going to upset people. People don't want change. They don't want accountability. They don't want to have heavier workloads. They don't want to have expectations on them. And
who's going to choose a manager that makes them work harder than the last manager?
Yeah. Makes them work harder and has higher standards and says, and it's under 10 Hag, but says to Rashford, you can't go to Belfast. Or when Garnacho had the first blowout, hold him accountable and saying, now you're off. And then Garnacho paid for dinner for everybody. You can't do this. You can't do that. Garnacho has to go for the simple fact that he did this before. He apologized, said it wouldn't happen, brought the team dinner on the Friday night. And then he's done it again because he can't control himself and his brother can't control himself. Whether Shane likes it, whether Samson likes it, whoever likes it, Amorim is the gaffer and the gaffer makes the decisions and he has to hold accountability for last night. But he doesn't hold accountability for his squad. He doesn't hold accountability for his squad. He doesn't hold accountability for the whole of the culture at the moment because it's not his team. So until he gets the support, and that's why I said it's the gaffer. If they change the gaffer and Amorim walks, it's the same thing. He's the gaffer. So if Garnacho is acting like a numpty and making these quotes and his brother's doing the same thing, you've got to go. It's a cheap thing that Man United fans always do and say, under Sir Alex... Wait, hear me out. Let me finish. Let me land. It's a cheap thing Man United fans say, but it's true. Under Sir Alex, and take Sir Alex, whether it's Pep or whoever more recently, the issue we've got is someone like Garnacho would never dare open his mouth because he's got Roy Keane, or he's got Giggs, or he's got Scholes, whoever. The same thing at Manchester City, the same thing at Arsenal. Vieira back in the day would have had him up. There's no hierarchy with these things. Kids are in here earning 200 grand a week, getting bleaching their hair and having all these fancy haircuts and putting things on social media.
And said
That is a
fancy haircuts. You sound like an old man, blood. But
I
yeah,
am
I'm
an old
listening.
man, bro. Don't you know that? Yeah. Like
Can
until
I?
these things are sorted, Shane, nights like last night will always happen.
Okay, you're 100% right. So for me, the club have made a very bad decision. The decision that they made, which was wrong, was they went against Amorim's wish, which was bring me in the summer and not bring
Mm,
me in halfway through the season. If
yeah.
we was not going to hold you accountable for what you do this season, what is the hell in bringing you in this season? For me, the only way the club in terms of the managers or the higher ups rectify the mistake they made is getting rid of Amram. The reason why is because if you're gonna keep him, you might as well just brought him in August. Because what was the point of bringing him in now? You're gonna say, well, he can understand the league better. For me, I watched the game yesterday, and I actually feel like his understanding of the club is getting worse because there is no justification. You're still guessing. My man played Mount up pretty in the front three and played Bruno in the double pivot. You're still guessing, bro. You're still
Nah, but there's a
guessing.
reason why, Shane. Shane, why do you think he made that decision?
Why, bro? Only God knows.
Do you want me
Only
to tell you
God
what I
knows.
think? Do you know
Why?
want me to tell you what I think? I think how Spurs normally play, the tempo they play, and how far up the pitch they are. He wanted because Haaland of all the things, the only thing he does at a reasonable level is press, right? So he wanted Haaland to press. He wanted Mount to press because he's a high level presser. He wanted these players, and that's why I said the first thing it was is he got caught out. No, he didn't think Ange. I don't think anyone thought they were going to sit back for that long with that many people. Hear me out though, and he wanted Bruno back so that we could hit them on the counter. If we don't get the ball back from pressing, we can get them on the counter attack because they're so high up. So yes,
If
I
you're
think I
gonna
know what you're
play
going to say.
counter-attacking football, would you
I
not
didn't
play
say that,
Garnacho
Shane.
ahead of Mount? Would you
I
not play
didn't say that.
Garnacho ahead of Mount
I didn't say
if
that.
you're playing
Not
counter-attacking football?
counter attacking, pressing, and then when they're pushing up high, you can also and maybe, but it's like let's not pretend that Garnacho is the finished article and that he's out here scoring.
I
Was
don't
it?
rate
What,
Garnacho.
hear me for a second. What's he got? Like one goal in the last how many games? 16
Yeah, he's
games,
not good.
18 games.
He's
So
not
when
good.
he's kicking off, I think he could be a top player. We'll have to see. I think mentality's a lot to do with it, and I think he's got to go somewhere else to achieve it. So I think there was a tactical reason why he done it because we could all go crazy and go, "Oh, why did you do this?" He has a reason and rationale. And I said to someone in the Man United group chat last night, we all sit around and to a degree we're doing it now, second guessing and having all these opinions when we understand 1% of what's going on and we don't have the understanding of coaching or working at that level. So I think,
Can I just make one point real quick? I'm just
um,
looking up the stats of Amorim when he went into, he went into that sporting team in crisis in the 1920 season, and he went
yeah,
in game week 24 until game week 34 because that's how many they play in sporting in Lisbon. In his first 10 games, he only lost 2 games. Got 2 losses, 3 draws, and the others were all wins. One, two, three,
all
four, five,
wins,
six wins in that
6
first
wins.
10 game spell. So his start to life at Sporting was a hell of a lot better. Portugal's a less competitive league
But
than the
Nick,
Premier League, but his
but
start at Sporting,
Nick,
so it's not so simple to say, look at how he
Nick,
turned it around. Because
and
he's
Nick
already
also,
failed to replicate at Man
al-
United what he
also
replicated at Sporting.
Nick, when he became the manager at Manchester United, United were probably the eighth, maybe ninth best team in the
Yeah.
league. In my opinion, what you've just asked him to do is, if you're saying we're gonna, in an ideal world, finish eighth, you basically fired him. You basically fired Ten Hag for us to go back to where we already was. Because for me, where I can't see us finishing higher than eighth under Amorim. So when he came in, we were the eighth best team, and now we're the eighth best team again. The only difference is we didn't win a trophy, and we are where we had a season where we finished 17th. I
Ah, but
can't see
this is
how.
Nick's point though. This is Nick's point about with Arteta going backwards because the Sanchos, the Rashfords, and all these guys they have to go and things have to change.
Arteta won his cup final when he came into the club and we were eighth, but
That's facts. That's
Okay,
facts. And
all right.
If Arteta didn't win that FA Cup, he would have been fired when he finished eighth the second season. It's just that rule. If he
I think
didn't
the
win that FA
that's
Cup,
true.
he would have got fired that second season when he finished eighth. He
I
had
think the
the
thing,
he
Shane, Sorry, Scott. I think the thing what you said, which is the most valid, was the mistake of bringing him in mid-season. They should have just kept Van. I don't know if this is where you're going. They should have just kept Van Nistelrooy and announced that they were going to have Amrin, and it hopefully would have still kept the motivation of the players that they need to prove to a new manager. And then he could have identified his targets and watched. I think that's been the biggest failing of the
Boys,
club is that they made that decision.
we've been at this for nearly an hour. I appreciate all of your time as well. So we're going to wrap it up soon. But real quick before we wrap up, I want to go through, if you guys don't mind, the Manchester United squad and see who you guys would want to keep. Because I want to get to, is this realistic? Is Lex wants Amorim in? Some of you are Amorim in. I think Alex is Amorim in. I think King Luku. I think a lot of the guys, boys, drop in the chat. Alex, I can't actually do a poll because I need a different type of software to do a poll. But I will add a poll for the next time we do this. It's a really good shout. Drop in if you're Amorim in or out, because I got a feeling there's more fans that are out. I know Ahmad is out. Samson seems like he's out. King Luku seems like he's out.
Man.
So let's see. But let's go through the squad because I want to get to.
I am emotional. I'm 1,000,000% emotional.
I want to get to, is this realistic, right? So let's go through. So already it's coming in. Alex says he's 100% in. King Luku is out. Samson is out. So yeah.
What was Samson's questions? Did he have any questions?
Yeah, Samson, keep type your questions down in the chat. Let's go through this team and let's see if this is if what Lex is positing is even realistic. Because before we look at what players you want to get in, let's look at the players that you guys want out, or let's see the situation.
You know what you mean.
Sorry, Nick, I need to say one thing. I need to say one thing, which is on this as well. Part of what Amrin did is he had a heavy influx of the academy players, so I think that needs to be bared in mind as well. And I was like thinking about it with Heaven and a few of the other guys. It's whether they go that route of it. But that's just a genuine thing.
Goalkeepers: Andre and Anna.
Gone, all three.
all three of them gone.
Yeah, Heaton as well and Bayenda, all three.
Shane,
there's a couple
goalkeepers.
All goalkeepers need to go.
All three of them gone. Okay, so that we got three already. Okay, I'm just writing it down.
Shane.
You agree on something? I'm trying to find some common ground here. Okay, Victor Lindelof
Gone.
Out.
Mazraoui
In.
Stay. Okay.
We'll say keep it. What do you want? Keep and go.
Keep. Keep. Dilip.
Keep.
Maguire.
Keep.
Ooh.
He's your best attacker, Lex. I've told you this for about a year and a half.
Keep.
Lisandro Martinez.
Sell.
He's got to go.
Yeah.
Dorgu.
Keep.
Just boy.
Yoro.
Keep.
Dallo.
Go. Sell.
Okay.
Yeah. Sell.
Luke Shaw.
Sell. Gone.
Okay. Aiden Heaven.
Keep, of course.
Johnny Evans.
Sell.
Well,
okay, cool.
Free.
But is he out of contract?
Yeah, he's like
he's out of contract, so I'm not putting him down because I'm looking at players you need to sell. The other two on here are academy products. I'm not going to put them in. Midfielders: Mason Mount.
Sell.
Bruno Fernandes.
Keep.
Christian Eriksen.
He's out of contract. He's out of contract.
Yeah. He's out of contract. Okay, cool. Casemiro.
Sell.
Ugarte.
Sell.
Keep.
Oh, controversial. Okay. Kobe Mainoo.
Keep.
Depends if he's being a numpty. Keep him otherwise, but he's
being a numpty.
He's down tooling over his contracts. He's been kicking off of his contract for the past 2 months.
Oh dear. Okay, and the last one is Toby Collier, so I'm not going to put him in there. He's a young player coming through. Attackers: Garnacho.
Sell. This is going to be easy.
Hoyland.
Sell.
Who else have we got? Go on.
I'm joking. Keep.
I was going to say Joshua Zirkzee.
That's a tough one.
Sell.
Okay. Amad Diallo.
Keep.
Marcus Rashford.
Sell.
Anthony. What's the deal with Anthony?
Selling.
Jadon Sancho.
Sell.
So at the moment, boys, based on what you've just said, that is 15 players in total that you guys want gone. Which of those do you think is realistic? Because, or how many of those do you think is realistic? Because before you can project, my thinking is, and you can tell me if I'm wrong. Before we project Amorim's future, we have to look at the players that he's potentially going to have coming in,
The
and then we've got
issue
to look.
is there's
No, here's
Go
the
about
on.
thing, Nick.
five of them players. The issue
go
is there's
through the
about
list
five
again
of them
and
players, maybe even 10 of them players that other clubs don't even want. Like, who the hell wants Hoyland? Like, how are you gonna sell him?
Juve won him apparently. Go
You
through the
want
list
Hoyland?
again. Yeah, go through the list again, Nick. But this time, as in keep or sell what we think will happen, like realistically.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's do that. Yeah.
rather than
So
what we want.
okay, Andre and Anna. They've got
Sell.
goalkeepers. Of your three goalkeepers, who's going to go?
I do think all three will go as well with the goalkeepers.
I think all
I
three
think
will
I
go.
think Heaton's out of contract as well. Actually, it's
Heaton
going.
barely counts, but yeah,
Yeah,
fine.
yeah, yeah.
He's a third choice goalkeeper. Of the defense, who do you think actually goes? Victor, I'll leave. I'll say Mazraoui's going to stay. Delit's going to stay. But let's talk about the ones that could go. Victor Lindelof,
He's
I
going.
think he's going. Yeah.
Lisandro Martinez.
He might not go.
I
I
don't
don't
think
think he
will.
goes.
I
Because
don't
of his
think he
ACL.
goes.
Delo.
Yeah.
He's not going. He's not gonna go.
Ooh.
If Ruben stays, this Portuguese bias, he ain't going. So we know that already.
Portuguese bias.
Luke Shaw.
He's gonna stay as well, because obviously without
well,
saying it on camera, but we know the supremacy that's going on, so he's gonna stay.
but wait a second.
English clubs are very reluctant to sell English players.
Did you
He's
see
gonna
what Shaw
stay.
said yesterday, though? Did you see what Shaw said after the game?
What he said?
No.
He said, he's normal, apologising to the fans, whatever, and he said, we all need to look at ourselves and decide who's good enough to be here. That's what he said afterwards.
Yeah,
Well,
but you know what is with Luke Shaw? He definitely weren't talking about himself. So don't take no hope. You're taking hope from that. He weren't chatting about himself. You think he's chatting about himself? These English man are shameless, blood. He's not going nowhere. You're mad, bruv. Because he ain't big. The fitness and the ability he has is the same situation for the last 3 years. He would have gone ages ago if that was his opinion. So
250 bags a week as well, or whatever.
yeah,
it is.
bro, 100%. Cool. So 1 second. Let me get back to it. We've got Dorgu, Lenny Euro. They're going to stay. Luke Shaw, Johnny Evans out of contract. Fine. Midfielders. What midfielders are going to go? Do you think Mason Mount will go?
no. He's gonna stay.
Yeah, if it's Amrin, I think he'll stay.
Bruno Fernandes.
He's gonna obviously stay.
I don't know,
Casemiro.
I don't know, Bruno. I don't think it's as clear cut as that. I'll say stay, but I don't think it's as clear cut as that.
Yeah, because you guys ain't got European football, but I don't know. I don't see him going Saudi. I don't know. I don't know.
Casemiro. Casimir's gone.
Casemiro?
He's gone. He's going Saudi. He's going Saudi, bro. He's going Saudi.
I hope you're right, but if Saudi don't, if it's not Saudi, he ain't going nowhere. So he's got another year at 300k a week. So
Christian Eriksen.
he's definitely gone.
He's
Yeah,
free
yeah.
agent.
Oh, he's out of contract. And then the rest of them, I don't know if you're going to sell. You've got Agate, Toby Collier, and Kobe Maino.
I think there's a chance with Manu that he goes as well.
But okay, fine. And then in terms of the attack, you both want Højlund gone.
Yeah.
Højlund is the person I don't know if we're gonna be able to sell.
I think he'll go on loan. Højlund.
I don't know where on loan he's gonna be. Like, who? I genuinely don't know.
He's got a big reputation in Italy, Shane. He's got a big.
You got two players you will sell in Marcus Rashford and Anthony.
Sancho.
Sancho as well. So that's 3. And then obviously going to keep Ahmad. So the other 2 are Garnacho and Højlund. The question is, do you think you'll be able to?
Garnacho's going.
Garnacho's gone. He's gone. He's gone.
And then Rasmus Højlund, you're not sure about.
I think he'll go on loan, and I do think Xerxes might be a bit of a shock sale as well. Because he was trying to get out. When was he? Quite early.
It was Christmas. He was going to go back to Italy in the January transfer window. So even without putting Xerxes in there, that is 3 goalkeepers, 4 midfielders. It's 2 goalkeepers really, because Heaton's out of contract. That's 2 goalkeepers, 4 forwards, 1 midfielder, 1 defender. That is 6, 7. That's still 8 players that could go.
I think so.
It's a lot of business.
I think the academy players will step in, like Heaven and those guys will step in.
Collier, I think you understand. We're only going to be playing once a week, so we don't really need a big squad anyway.
Yeah,
true.
Collier played a lot of minutes, Nick. He's played a lot of minutes before he got hurt. He played significant minutes. He looks all right as well.
Samson said he had a.
Let's try and wrap this up, Nick, because I'm tired.
Samson said he had a question somewhere earlier. Luke Shaw isn't leaving until he's retired. Dallo isn't going to go anywhere. For sure, you can't sell this many players in one window. You need to sell them through 2 or 3 transfer windows. And then Samson said, based on the emotion of both Ten Hag and Amorim, I actually think that most of the players have been better than they've been set up to show. And I'm just trying to see where the question is. Here we go. Here's the question. If Amorim is unable to win 2 games in a row back to back, is this indicative of a lack of managerial versatility, Lex?
No, no.
Even
That's not.
even though Van Nistelrooy had 3 wins back to back to back.
Van Nistelrooy had what? Did he have 3 wins back to back?
He had 3 wins and 1 loss. Okay, 3 wins and 1 draw in 4 games.
Yeah,
So
no,
there was
I don't.
definitely back to back wins in there somewhere.
I don't hold I don't hold the caretaker thing. The reason that I don't have it as managerial versatility, Samson, is because okay, if you're asking me back-to-back wins and it's Arsenal and Newcastle, then no, I don't think. If we're talking about Ipswich and who else got relegated,
Southampton.
Southampton, then yeah, there's an expectation. But I don't think just back-to-back wins as a
Can I answer a
generalization.
question?
But
So, not you.
in
One
the
second,
Premier
yeah.
League, I
One
don't know
second.
if go on.
Someone added me, and I just want to reply to it. Alex
Mhm.
said, "I bet if Rúben Amorim won the Europa League, I wouldn't have said Rúben Amorim out." You're
Of
right.
course.
And guess what? If you came home and saw your wife cheating on you before, she would have still been your wife. The moment you see her cheating on you, you're gonna leave, innit? This is the truth. If you see your wife just getting plowed, you're not gonna stay. And that's what we saw yesterday, bro. We saw our wife get plowed, absolutely destroyed. So I'm not gonna stay for that. I don't know.
I,
Maybe you're in a
I
relationship
disagree
where
with
you
that,
like
Shane.
where you like voyeurism.
Spurs set back. We didn't
Maybe you're
get
in a relationship where you like voyeurism. I don't know.
Nah, Shane,
But Lex,
Shane. This wasn't a 5-0 at home against Liverpool.
it don't
It was
matter.
just no, but Shane's analogy, that's what it's making out. Like there was no 5-0 against Liverpool. We were just toothless in creativity, which we have been.
We lost, didn't it?
Um,
We lost the
yeah,
cup final against a team that's never won a
yeah,
cup final in
yeah.
17 years. So again, like it's even, bro, it is so bad. We lost to a team that don't win finals. That's what is so bad.
But
Like Alex,
to
bro,
the
I
point
don't know. You
to
need
the
to you need
thing
to
that we
tell
were
me what's
saying,
your.
to the thing that someone was saying about back to back wins, Lex, he hasn't been able to
Yeah.
get. He's not won 2 games back to back since he's come. He's got in the Premier League. He's got 6 wins,
What do
6
you
wins,
think,
6
Nick?
draws, 14 losses.
And he's not got,
What's your
and he
opinion,
wasn't
Nick,
able
on
to
it?
beat
I'm
a
in or
team that's
out.
got 21 losses.
I actually
What?
don't care. But of
Okay.
the teams he's been able to, the teams he's been able to beat have been Everton, Man City, Southampton, Fulham, Ipswich, Leicester. So he's beat the 3 of the relegation teams plus Fulham and Man City. Fulham, Man City, Everton, and the 3 relegation teams. That's all he's been able to do since he's come in. So I don't know. I don't know. Listen, it's the same about Crystal Palace. They just won the FA Cup. I don't know. I don't know. But obviously, I'm an Arsenal fan, so I don't really care. I think that any manager that goes into Manchester United needs time. I think it's always going to hurt. It's always going to get worse before it gets better. That being said, how this worse is very worse. And actually, you probably would have been better off sticking with Ten Hag, who at least could win cups along the way, given that you're Manchester United. But that's it, man. That's it. That's all I've got time for right
I was
now.
10 Hag in. I was 10 Hag
It's
in.
true. It's true. Where can I
Bro,
watch
this guy,
Lex? Go.
you're probably. I don't think you've ever wanted a man. This guy is the equivalent of time. Lex
Who
is the
Lex?
equivalent of time. We don't want any manager out. You wouldn't want any manager out. I promise you, you wouldn't. You wouldn't want any. If we got relegated, you would still be saying he can turn it around next season.
Alex is asking where he can watch Lex. Lex is not a serious YouTuber, but he does have his own channel, Lex F1. I'll put it in the description of the chat as well, Alex. You can go subscribe to him. And Lex, we'll definitely try to get you back on the. We want to be doing more watch-alongs for Man United games next season. We'll try to get you back on to have these kind of chats and stuff like that if you're up for that. Do you know what I'm saying? Lex getting a bit of a following, but I think most Man United fans, maybe it is emotion, but football's very emotional. A lot of them siding with Shane over Rúben Amorim out. But I don't know. I think that Ten Hag needed to be given more time, in my opinion. But that we are where we are. Final thoughts, Lex and Shane.
Go on, Shane.
Amorim out, bro. Amorim out. Glazers out. Ineos out. 12 players that we just listed out. Right now, we just need to rip the floor up, rip the kitchen sink out, everything. Everything needs to go. But
At least
the
you're saving
first,
money on the barbecue. That's good news.
bro, let's just keep it real, yeah? I am done with, like, for me, even if we do keep Amorim, the worst thing is, yeah, if we keep Amorim, all you're doing is just prolonging the inevitable. Because if you don't get fired now, he's gonna get fired when he signs his players, and then we still fail. Because it's pretty much what's gonna happen. But that's my final thoughts.
Lex, final thoughts before we wrap?
Shout out Alex, I appreciate that, mate. I just saw the comments, I appreciate that. And what you said, Nick, yeah, I'll jump on. We can even catch up with summer transfers if you want to.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. We'll have Lex on more through the summer. You don't know what it is. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all the comments. Don't forget to like the video on the way out. Only Facts Sports. We're out. Peace and love.